So, very good afternoon to one and all. I would request all the participants to open the camera, please. So, today we have with us Dr. Ajit Thete, sir, who is a former Joint Director, Technical Education, Chhatrapati Sambhaji region. Also, a person with a vast teaching, research, and administrative experience is here. So, on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, I welcome uh, to Dr. Ajit Thete, sir, to this afternoon session, and I would now hand over the session to him. Over to you, sir. Sir, kindly unmute, sir. Dr. Thete, sir, kindly unmute.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Dr. Rafi, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Thank you to you and you all for joining this particular session. Malviya Mission Training, which is focusing today on the uh, orientation and sensitization of National Education Policy 2020. So I'm going to focus today's discussion on the academic leadership, governance, and management. These three parameters, one is leadership, governance, and management. It's supposed to each other, and that is how we are going to discuss these parameters by one. I'm sure you are all geared with this particular session to share with me on this particular task. Okay. Now I'll share the screen. Can you provide me the please provide me the access to share the screen, please. Yeah, I got it. I'll share my screen. Just wait. The screen is visible to you, all of you? The presentation? Hello? Can you see the
Yes,
screen?
sir. It is disappear now.
It has disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll once again I'll
1 second, you share it, sir.
Yeah. I think it's visible now.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Fine. Thank
Yes,
you.
it's
Thank you so
visible.
much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So welcome to all of you on this session, academic leadership, governance and management, a strategic way for career and professional development. You all teachers we have joined to this session, you are all going to spend your entire life in this profession. And hence, we have to have a very systematic and a strategic way for developing our career and even the teaching profession as such. So, career is one part, and the profession, as we are a teacher, teaching is a profession. So, what type of academic leadership is required? And not only the leadership, if the governance is missing, or if governance is there but there is no proper management, then obviously we are going to miss the train for which we are traveling to that destination. So, as a part of National Education Policy 2020, it has become an essential part that academic leadership governance and management becomes one of the significant chapter in the implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Now, when we talk about this orientation and sensitization of the program, the purpose is that I understand you all people must have gone through the current session, current training program through different aspects of the policy. Even in the past, you might be a part of different discussions on the National Education Policy 2020. Herein, our focus, as I said to you, is on the academic leadership, governance, and management. Please try to read out and, if possible, take the snap of this particular screen. The session outcomes, I'm going to engage you for next 3 hours. And in this next 3 hours, what we are going to do is to conceive, design, and implement the concept and fundamentals of academic leadership in educational processes. It is not that the term leadership is not known to you. The leadership term is known to you, but now we are going to talk about the academic leadership in the educational environment, and that too in the context of NEP 2020, focusing on NEP 2020. So, as a part of the our discussion presentation, we are going to have first outcome: conceive, design. Of course, the designing you can do after going back to your institution, or even right now, so you can start thinking and jotting it down on when I come to a specific point of discussion as such, and then implement the concept and fundamentals of academic leadership in educational processes. The second outcome is develop the attributes of academic leadership. Now, you are leader, you are an academic leader. You will realize and you will agree to the fact that the destiny of the nation, the student, the future society, the future citizens, they are going to be get developed under your guidance, under your mentorship, under your academic environment. And obviously, when we perform such a noble profession, we need to have certain attributes which are required to be a leader in a general and academic leader in specific as such. That will be our second outcome. I agree that many of these attributes might be there already with you, but if you take a quick review of that, it will help you in demonstrating the same. Then demonstrate the academic leadership through strategic planning. See, basically, when we talk about educational policy 2020, we require to go very systematically and strategically. And hence, we need to understand the concept of strategic plan. Excuse me. So, what is that strategic planning and how we can develop? Because we know that we many times discuss that NEP 2020 has given us a good opportunities for holistic development of the students. We have the initiatives and tools like experiential learning, internship, then the courses on the skill development, and even going beyond that, we talk about having a multidisciplinary education. So, but then we require good amount of strategies and that planning is required. So, to understand that we are going to work on this aspect, then design and develop governance for effective management of higher education. As I said to you, these three words, leadership and governance and management, they go hand in hand. So having had the knowledge, a concept of the leadership, educational leadership or academic leadership, developing the requisite attributes and follow different tools and techniques, we have to have a good design of the governance for effective management. And obviously, the last is use different management tools and strategies in the management of higher education. My dear professor, I'm sure that you will agree that NEP 2020 has created altogether a different educational environment. It is a new hope for the entire nation. Not only that, globally, the NEP 2020 has been highly appreciated. So, when we are doing so, the development of these outcomes, of course, when I'm saying session outcomes, it may not happen immediately at 5:30, but when you start thinking on this point, when you start discussing amongst yourself, and even whenever you require, if you could write to me also, I can also add to the whatever the knowledge that I have, I will give you the input to that. So, dear professors, once again, welcome to this particular session. And the session outcomes are these five on which we are going to focus on the entire session. Now, while designing this particular session, because I may take some examples during discussion, I know that you all teachers who are joined in today's session, they are Nobel professionals. Teaching now we are NEP is giving a opportunity to all of us to once again prove us as a our profession is a noble profession. So I know that you all teacher are from different faculties. Some of you might be from humanities, some of maybe from science and technology, some may be from commerce and management. I mean, I'm saying humanities, education, law, all will come into that. When I'm talking science and technology, obviously, whatever the new technology and new science is developed, we also talk about that. And same is in the case of commerce and management. So, in back of my mind, I know that you people are from different type of the faculties, disciplines who are attending this particular session. I also know that this all may not be true, but some of you might be working in a rural area. Some might be in tribal area. Some are in semi-urban. Some are in urban. And few of you might be from metro. Now, what is the meaning of this? What is the context of this particular session of showing this particular slide? Because when we are implementing National Education Policy 2020, the type of academic leadership required at this different demography is different because you have different challenges. Your audience is different. There are so many differences that happens from rural to tribal, like for example exposure to the students, sometimes language, sometimes resources, sometimes the access to the business and organization. So such type of issues will be there. So when we talk about these leadership activities, I'm keeping in front of me that I know you people are coming from one of these areas or the demography as such. Now, the target audience, which are addressed by you and me, when you go to an institution, we know that There's a mixed and diverse students population, rural and urban, language, etc., etc. We know that this type of the students are coming into the institution. There are individual differences in context to the intellectual abilities, behavior, attitude, exposure, social background, economic background. So these individual differences are there among the students. The student, those who are coming, every one of them may not be having a very clear cut idea of their career and life goals, because the uniqueness of the NEP 2020 is we are going to prepare a employable graduates who can contribute to the world development, not only national development, not only as an employee, but as an entrepreneur who can do innovations, who can establish their own businesses. So, and at the same time, when we talk about life goal, one has to be have a very sound and happy life. So, a career, we know because we are working, many of you are working for many years. We know how the life is challenging, I will not say difficult. And to develop a career as a teacher, we have to have a the attributes which are required to as a academic leader as such. So this is equally true for the students. And hence, the context of today's discussion is the policy guidelines. All of you might be by this time have gone through number of times to the policy document as such, which provides a very systematic guidelines. One who reads the National Education Policy 2020, he will understand the context, he will understand the context, concept, and if you know the context and the concept, then very easy to implement it, deliver it, or sometime prior to that, design the essential requirements for the holistic development of the student as such. So the context here is, of course, National Education Policy 2020. As a part of today's discussion, few policies which are related to higher education policy, I may quickly take a look to all of you so that whatever we discuss, we understand the context of our discussion. Now, the National Education Policy 2020, published by Ministry of Education, Government of India, if you focus on higher education chapter, you will find that the policy initiatives are demanding academic and educational leadership. Doesn't mean that prior to NEP 2020, the leadership was not required. It was required. It will in future too. But then it has given us all of us a new opportunity to do creativity, innovation, and apply the knowledge and the experience and the training that you have gained in your profession. So let us quickly see to this aspect. I need now tell you that NEP 2020 envisions a complete overhaul of India's higher education systems. Every transformative mandate from governance to research requires capable, empowered, and visionary leaders at institutional systems like colleges, universities, and national level. So there are 14 plus major policy initiatives, and if you focus especially on chapter 11 to 16, this chapter, if you focus to on that, and we have planned that by 2035, our target is 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education. It was around 20. Now we have touched 25. We are in between 25 and 30. To be precise, around 27. We want to take our gross enrollment ratio to 50%. The most important investment needed in the education system is developing and empowering the educational leaders. All those policies, all those policy initiatives which are being enlisted, 14 plus policies, and also at the same time enhancing the gross enrollment ratio to 50%. We know globally how the India is now demonstrating, leading, presenting, and more opportunities are coming to India. So that obviously required the graduates who come in the stream of higher education, and that we need to take to 50%. So when we talk about the overall of India's higher education system, the transformative mandate is from governance to research. And that's why we require capable, empowered. It's very important, my dear professors. We have to develop our capacities. It's not that we are weak in the domain. You're excellent in the domain. You're also performing, delivering. But in the context of the policy requirement, having an opportunity to lead entire world, we need to have a capability development. Get ourselves empowered somewhere that is missing or that is reducing. We need to empower ourselves because we are the architect of nation, future generation. And hence, in this context, the visionary leadership is required at institutional, in systems, and at national levels. Now, if you just take few quick review to the why we are talking today on the academic leadership, governance, and management. One of the policy talks about institutional restructuring and graded autonomy, which demands visionary leadership to manage structural transformation. I hope you are reading and you are listening to. So, the institutional restructuring is going to be there. Very soon, new institutional architecture is going to be that will be restructured into research universities, teaching universities, and autonomous colleges. Each of them requiring a distinct leadership model, strategic planning, and culture change. Okay. So the future of universities, like today we have, there will be these universities will be restructured. That restructuring will be, some will be entirely research university dedicated to research alone. Some are teaching universities, undergraduate, postgraduate, postdoctoral studies. Some of maybe teaching and research, doing both the things. And next category is autonomous colleges. Now, when we talk about this type of document, this is not the future. It is a part of policy, and we have started working on that policy. This policy has been initiated, and the today's training, whatever you are going to the Maldives mission training program, is for the same cause. We want to orient and sensitize the professors from the institution, higher education institution. So these institutions, the new architecture required distinctive leadership models, required very systematic and strategic planning, and cultural change is required. Second is graded autonomy framework. The institute will have academic, administrative, and financial autonomy. Today, if you find there are institutions, there are majority, of course, in the recent past, if you see the current scenario, you will find that now the institutions are coming forward to become autonomous, because becoming autonomous gives you more accountability and help in quality education. But then, this graded autonomy framework, where you will have a full autonomy, academic autonomy, administrative autonomy, and financial autonomy. So, leader must responsibly exercise self-governance, build compliance to the culture, and maintain accountability. When autonomy is granted, we say that more leadership is required of. Today, those institutions which are affiliated institution, they are financially autonomous. But when you go to the administrative autonomy and economic autonomy, they have to follow the affiliating university rules and regulation, their curriculum, their examination patterns. But when we talk about the quality of education, when we took up a vision, Vikasit Bharat 2047, in that context, each and every institution has to be an autonomous. And there again, we require distinct leadership model. Leader must responsibly exercise self-governance, build compliance culture. It's not that you have become an autonomous means freedom is given to you. No, we have to make fulfill the compliance to the culture. Culture means regulatory requirement, then requirement of industry and business, requirement of society, that also include students and parents. And we should be accountable. We maintain accountability. Today, institutions are affiliated. With some exception, they don't take accountability. This is an observation. For everything, they make responsible, accountable to the university, affiliating university. Now, to have self-governance, compliance culture, and accountability, leadership is required. And as a part of this structuring of the institution, the board of governance will be there, BOG models will be there. Empowered, independent BOG with full authority over the institutions. VCs are directed to be appointed through merit-based process, and that calls for professional academic leadership. So, when we talk of universities or the director of autonomous institution, we have to look for a professional academic leadership as such. So, one of the policy initiatives as a institutional restructuring and graded autonomy, which demands visionary leadership to manage structural transformation. My dear professor, I don't have, I'm very sorry to say, much idea about how many of you comes from the affiliating institution, not an autonomous institution. Now, as a part of policy, every institution, it was planned by 2030. Let us see what happened. All institutions will be autonomous. There won't be sort of affiliation pattern which exists today. And to have that autonomous pattern, we require leadership, self-governance, board of governors, academic curriculum framing, ordinances, regulations, pedagogy, you are going to decide. Administrative, you will follow the now National Higher Education Commission guidelines or UGC guidelines for the appointment of faculty and staff. But the administrative is not only limited to the staff, but staff development, promotion, accreditation, all will come part into that, and financial autonomy. So look into this. So today, if you are not autonomous, please try to convert yourself to the autonomy. I know some of the institution might be having some issues, but then the by means of these training, by means of collaborating with the universities and other autonomous institutions, you can develop your abilities, capabilities, and go for autonomy. Because if you do not go for autonomy by 2030, you will be pushed and will be titled as a graded autonomy till some 2, 3, 4 years, till you become fully capable, empowered to be an autonomous. So some one which is already existing autonomous institution will mentor you. You will be graded autonomy, and then you will become an autonomous. So here we required for the academic leadership as such. Second, curriculum reform and academic bank of credits. I know that on this second part, second policy initiative, you have already started. Many universities in our country have reformed. There are curriculum reforms have happened, and I know that each and every institution participating today have their academic bank of credits. This demands academic coordination on a curriculum reform, program redesign, and quality management. See, these are few attributes of the leadership. Now, when we talk about curriculum reform and academic bank of credit, you know that as per the NEP 2020, a curriculum has to be a flexible and multidisciplinary curriculum, a multiple entry exit options, credit based framework that requires deans, HODs, and academic council to redesign the program and manage smooth transition without disrupting the quality is very important. A flexibility is there. Flexibility means one student who has taken admission to the graduation can take exit after first year, go and work, come back, again start learning, complete second year. So he will get certificate, he will get diploma, and then he will get bachelor's degree. And if he come take exit after first year, he will get certificate. If we take exit after second year, he will get diploma. And if it is take exit of third year, he will get proper bachelor's degree. And if he can take exit after 4 year, he will get honors degree. This I know you know very well. But then The very challenge is program redesign. How that you make student is exit at the end of first year so that he has got skill set to work in the world of work. And not only that, we have a multidisciplinary curriculum. So curriculum reforms are happening in types of flexibility, in type of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. You know, there are majors and minors are theirs, so student can go and adopt for that. So here we require a really the deans and HODs and academic council, because now once you become autonomous you will have an academic council like we have in today the in universities, which will develop this type of the curriculum. Second part is national credit framework. I need not explain it more because but it requires institutional level academic coordination for aligning the program with national credit framework. This is little bit a complex administrative and academic leadership challenge because there are level, you know, level 1 to 10, 1 to 9 rather, we can say. Highest level go to the PhD, 9 is for the postgraduate, and so on to so on. So at level 3 and 4, certificate, diploma, and so on to so on. So our curriculum, our credit framework should match with the national credit framework. And in this context only, to the first and second point, we have to have an academic bank of credit. Why there is a significance of academic bank of credits? Two reasons, broadly two reasons. One is a student will be able to know that, for example, for a bachelor's degree, I am talking about a common degree, he required 120 credits. He will come to know that how much credit he has earned, number one. Second, because of academic bank of credit, the flexibility and multidisciplinary can be effectively implemented. I'm studying currently in X college. There are two courses, subject in Y college, which I want to opt for. Provision is in the NEP 2020. Student can opt, he will opt, he will learn, he will earn the credits, and those credits will go to the academic bank of credits. So a mobility of the student is possible in learning process. So leader must operationalize credit recognition, credit transfer, and credit accumulation policy across department with external institution which is demanding systematic oversight. This we need to take an initiative. As I why I'm talking this particular point, because in the initial slides I mentioned you that I understand your demography. Some of you are in rural or semi-urban area. All courses may not be available, but you can, because of the NEP 2020, because of academic bank of credit, you can collaborate with the other institution in metro or anywhere, and you can give opportunity for student to register in that course, appear for the examination, earn the credit, which will be accumulated, transfer and accumulated into that. So this is demand the oversight. All we need to work in this area, and that's why, as I said in the title of this particular slide number 4, which talks about curriculum reform and academic bank of credits, demands academic coordination, program redesign, and quality management is very important. If my student is taking exit after first year, going to go in the world of work, will ever award a certificate, but that whether that certificate is a quality certificate, whether that certificate will give him some sort of employment in the market, or whether he'll be able to do something with his or her own hands, that we need to part. And even when we talk about credit transfer or accumulation of credits or collaboration, there we require academic coordinations. Our programs need to be redesigned in that context. There, my dear professor, we require leadership. Why academic leadership? How is giving important from that. Now, henceforth, I will go a little bit fast because it is what was just to give you a feel of the national policies which are there in higher education. Faculty recruitment, promotion and development, transparent HR leadership, and institutional capacity building. So we need such a mechanism, such a transparent mechanism, and which will give a merit based career progression. Will have to have a series of faculty development programs, content upgradation programs, technology enhancement program, digital training programs, training on assessment and evaluation, and we'll have to ensure that our teaching is having a high level, and we really go for a teaching and assessment in a unique way. Nowadays we know that our more focus is on teaching. We have to also see that the our shift from qualification alone to teaching effectiveness. We also have to focus on redefining the assessment metrics. We call them as rubrics, mentoring systems. This is very much essential, and that's why the academic leaders are required. That is why academic leadership is required into the class. Research and innovations ecosystem. You know that the National Research Foundation is already established. Now all money will be given through this National Research Framework. How? What is the Vikasit Bharat 2047, the target goals? And according to that, how do we plan and build the funding so that it is creating an impact of the research? This also demands for industry academia partnership. Earlier, our focus was on research, but that was more of a quantitative research, not a qualitative research. Now we talk about a qualitative research, multidisciplinary research, and that's why we need to have a partnership with a industry. When I'm saying industry, it may be a business and organization or public offices, public organization. And also, this has to be in a long term come to the development of intellectual property right. So that is sort of research culture we need to build through the patent, through the publications, which will be transformed into the business. We know today the country, India, is leading on different fronts. Especially, you know how we are doing in defense, how we are doing artificial intelligence. We've been known for IT. In agriculture also we are developing. So my dear professors, here now we are the soldier of this nation who are not fighting on the borders of the nation, but inside the country, inside the institution. And our fighting. Our war is to give better outcome of education, research and development where we require a research into that. There are going to be a regulatory reforms and internationalization. Now, this requires policy leadership and global vision. You know that now already Higher Education Commission of India has been established. Of course, the name is different, but this is already this unified regulatory architecture is now existing. Foreign universities are coming in India. Indian institutions are going abroad. Good number of examples are there. Now, when we work on these aspects, we have to go for so many regulatory compliances, cross-cultural management, capabilities. We also, when we go abroad, we also have to develop a acumen, our own acumen, and we have to demonstrate the academic leadership. So this is all now. This word earlier, our teaching was restricted to the classroom. Teacher was known. Majority of the teacher used to be because curriculums were developed, examination used to conduct. So we were more responsible in delivering the content, making student to learn. But because of the total change globally, the country is planning in a different context so that we equally become capable in the areas. Here, equity, technology, and Indian knowledge system. My focus, my dear professors, is not on policy statement discussion. My focus is on academic leadership. If we have to do this, we require inclusive leadership. For that, for inclusiveness and equity and special education zone, we require a distinctive leadership. We have to have a techno savvy leadership. And when we talk about the techno savvy, at the same time, we cannot ignore that we need to be proud of being an Indian. And hence, knowledge, Indian knowledge system must be integrated into the curriculum. So here we require a sort of leadership as such. Also, we talk about the mentoring mission and affiliating university reforms. As I told you, there's a phasing out of the affiliating system now. The autonomous college will develop, and that's why we require national mentoring mission so that in collaboration with each other, in association with each other, we can develop a autonomous institution. So this demand sustained institutional and system level leadership. It's not so easy. So we require to have this academic leadership as well. So, when we talk about these aspects, you will find that what type of the leadership on these lines we require governance leadership, we require academic leadership, we require faculty and HR leadership, we require research leadership, we require policy and regulatory leadership, we require inclusive and technology leadership, and we require systemic leadership. See, dear professor, the policies, initiatives which are there, they call for academic leaders. Academic leaders delivering, transforming students to be a future citizen contributing in the global development, in the national development. And that's why the different leadership capacities, leadership role now we need to perform when you are working in the present context. Hope you are with me, my dear professors. Huh? Yes? Any question you have? Fine. Fine. Now we go further and we say that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other, said by John F. Kennedy. So, when, as I told you, teacher of 20th century, teacher of 21st century, you will find significant difference. And when we talk about the academic leadership or leadership for that matter, we need to learn something new. And those new based upon the educational policy initiatives and requirement. And hence, John F. Kennedy said once that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. There's a one more very favorite talks about that, and that is APJ Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam, sir, used to say that let us sacrifice our life today so that our children can have a better tomorrow. This is true. This is true, and that's why I say that we are educational soldiers. We are educational soldiers which are really developing the country so that we can support those soldiers, those defense soldiers which are working on the borders of the country. So we need to sacrifice. We need to sacrifice. Doesn't mean I will say that you don't enjoy life. But in the context of NEP 2020, when we talk about orientation and sensitization of NEP 2020, we have to somewhere think about let us sacrifice our life today so that our children can have a better tomorrow. Now, when we talk of this aspect, let us move slowly, gradually to our next task. I always discuss about that. We all teacher must know what is education here. Education, the concept to the policy agenda. You will find here, if you see the concept of education, then you will find that the policy agenda is as per the concept of education, which has been already said by the our leaders, our education leaders, our philosophers. Let us see quickly. I'm not going to spend much time onto this, but we as a teacher, we must try to understand and read between the line. What Mahatma Gandhi used to say that education is the development of body, mind, and soul. We need to reassess our system, our teaching and learning process, our output, our graduated student, and we need to evaluate whether this particular concept of education led by Mahatma Gandhi ji is true, or to what extent education is development of body, mind, and soul. Swami Vivekananda said, education is the manifestation of divine perfection which already exists in the human being. And that is what is NEP 2020, my dear professors. This is giving an opportunities for the learners to develop required skill set to flexibility in the curriculum so they can select courses of their own choice. If the courses is not available in the same institution, he will register in another institute. Rabindranath Tagore says the highest education is that which does not merely give us information but makes our life in harmony with all existence. This is really, we talk about holistic development. Our NEP 2020 also focus on development of body. There we talk about value education. Not only that, we focus on some audit courses where student can opt some sport activity, and they can focus on to that. Mind, we talk about experiential learning. We talk about Indian knowledge system. We talk about honors degree. We talk about skill development and soul, all value education that we have added to our curriculum as such. So if you just open the pages of National Education Policy 2020, you will find the reflection of the concept of education as stated by our country's leaders. Let us see what Sri Aurobindo has given very, very elaborative concept of education. Education is meant to bring out the best in the man, to develop his potentialities to the maximum, to integrate him with himself, his surroundings, his society, his country, and humanity, to make him the complete man, the integral man. And same is the purpose of NEP 2020, my dear professors. And that's why it calls you for the academic leadership in education. And that's why we need to get ourselves geared up and find out what are those attributes are required, what those techniques are required, what those tools are required, so that we can fulfill these concepts, this requirement, and we lead to the entire world. Here we talk about holistic development. You take any curriculum, NEP policy, you will find that their focus is given on this concept of the education into our curriculum. It may be holistic development, it may be a research part of that, it may be a flexibility in the curriculum, it may be interdisciplinary curriculum, it may be the multidisciplinary curriculum, it may be a skill education, or it may be a sort of the flexibility into the curriculum as such. So it's not new, but we need to have rethink on what we did in the past, what our system has did in the past, and we have to work and demonstrate the leadership into the run. And the education, and that's why education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, belief, and habits. So, education, the national education policy, and the education systems and processes, they facilitate learning, they facilitate acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, moral, beliefs, and habits. It's not I'm telling you something new. But then, as said in the policy, we need to implement these policies of flexibility, interdisciplinary research, measurement and assessment, credit transfer, multi-entry exit pattern, and there we all autonomous institutions, we require research universities, we require teaching universities, and all these talks about the leadership in the education. Dear professors, globally, the objectives of higher education, these are the four objectives of higher education. I have given you the source of this document. This is a final report of the structural reforms which happens in the Bologna process. Bologna process is one of the initiative for higher education across the world, across the globe. What is the objective of higher education? Preparing for employment, preparing for a life as an active citizen in democratic society, personal development, and development and maintenance of broad advanced knowledge base. So globally, it is being proved what is being said in NEP 2020 is that our objective of higher education is to prepare them for employment. And we know today what is the employment rate. It 25 to 30%, where the 70% are going. Now slowly it is increasing, but not a rosy picture today, not really an inspiring picture. Preparing for life as an active citizen in democratic society, missing. Personal development, we talk about career and life goal, missing. And one should have a broad and advanced knowledge base. And that is how we talk on to that. And hence, the NEP 2020 vision itself says that the vision of the policy NEP 2020 is to instill among the learners a deep rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and disposition that support responsible commitment to human right, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizens. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So our vision of NEP 2020 is like this. We not only want a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, but also in spirit, intellect, and so on. Man, that's why, my dear professor, a different type of leadership is required for development of the next generation for which we are working as such. Even Sustainable Development Goal 4, which says that education is a force multiplier which enables self-reliance, boosts economic growth by enhancing skills, and improve people's life by opening up opportunities for better livelihood. We are teachers. Our profession is a noble profession. We are regaining our position in society by implementing NEP 2020. We know present social, economic scenario of the country. And that's why we also need to address Sustainable Development Goal 4. And that's why leadership is required. Academic leadership is required in this context. And hence, as we say, and APJ Abdul Kalam used to say that we need to develop these 5 types of mind, as said by the, sorry, I'll go back. We want disciplinary minds. If I'm from economics, sociology, psychology, commerce, or business management, or chemistry, or say, nanotechnology, or from the civil or mechanical, or a lawyer, I must have a good disciplined mind, creative mind. That disciplinary mind, I must be able to start applying creatively into that. So creativity has to be there when you are implementing. So we want a creative mind. Third is synthesizing mind. Why I'm showing you this slide, my dear professors? Because this slide is in line with NEP 2020. We want synthesizing mind. Multidisciplinary education will create synthesizing mind. The experiential learning, internship, research will create creative mind. And my majors and minors, my different practices of internships, that will create disciplinary mind. Skills will create disciplinary minds. My value education will create ethical mind and respectful mind. APJ Abdul Kalam used to say that to be a successful, we must have a 5 types of mind. And my dear professor, these 5 types of mind is the part of NEP 2020. You need to explore yourself so that you can demonstrate this academic leadership and understand these aspects. And as said by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir, he's my hero, must be hero of many of you. What APJ Abdul Kalam used to say about the purpose of education. The purpose of education is to make good humans with skills and expertise. Enlightened humans, beings can be created by teachers. See, even APJ Abdul Kalam sir is having faith in all of us, and that we need to prove through our system as such. Now, when we talk about this, I hope I'm not going fast. Hope I'm not going fast. So when we talk of this, sorry. So how I'm going, how these what are these leadership concepts? So developing leadership in education. What we see today, first we started with the what is the outcome expected from this particular session, 3 hour session. Then we see that how the national education policy initiatives are there, where you can see the reflection of leadership, academic leadership, education leadership. Then we see that for each of these domain policy, we require the leadership attributes, and that's where we have seen 7 different domains of leadership as such. I'm using the domains, but these are the areas of leadership. Then to deepen our leadership abilities, we also try to understand the concept of education, and we try to relate that concept of education with current NEP 2020 policies. Now we are moving ahead, and I'm sure that you are with me, my dear professor. This is 3:40, 40 past 3, 4 o'clock. We'll take a bio break for 5 minutes. Okay. After 20 minutes, we'll take a small bio break of 5 minutes. You will not disconnect. You will remain connected, and you can use your bio break for your own self. And I'm sure you are with me. I'm providing my email ID at the end. If anybody would like to contact with me, want some more information or discussions, we can definitely do. Okay. Now, developing leadership in education. Now, coming back to our topic, the fundamentals to educational leadership. Let us see why students take admission in higher education institution. I'm trying to ask question to myself. You can also ask this question to yourself. You need not answer. It is for yourself. Why students take admissions in HEI? Why do we teach? Ask this question to yourself. You need not answer. Just it's a thinking level question. And what is the expected outcome of combined efforts? Student and teacher. You teach, student take admission, you teach. What is the expected outcome of combined efforts? Just this thought provoking questions just to keep you in line with our discussion. Let us move forward. Academic leadership, just see quickly, we are going to go into the details of that. First of all, we'll try to see what is leadership. I'm going to share with you different concept and definition. It is only to develop insight onto the definition and the topic of our today's topic on academic leadership, governance, and management. Leadership is any activities tied to the core work of the organization that are designed by organizational members to influence the motivation, knowledge, affect, or practice of other organizational members. So, leadership is an activity which is tied up with the core work of the organization. As is development, holistic development of the student, making them employable entrepreneurs, okay, global citizens, etc., etc., etc. That are designed by organizational members, you and me, to influence the motivation, knowledge, affect, or practice of other organizational members. Academic leadership is the process of enlisting and guiding the talent and energies of teachers, pupils, and parents towards achieving common educational aims. Sometime before, I have shown you limited to higher education, the objectives of higher education. I'm limiting my discussion to that only. So, academic leadership is the process of enlisting and guiding the talent and energies of teachers, pupils, and parents towards achieving common educational aim. Let us move forward. Why is the emergence of leadership in education? Why we talk about demands were made on higher education institutions for high level of people achievement and improve and reform. There's a new demand. You know that everybody talks about that. Industry, business, even government, even society talks about that. Expectations accompanied by cause for accountability at higher education institute level. When there are expectation, it is accompanied by the accountability, and that's why it is there. Administration and management are terms that imply stability through the exercise of control and supervision. When we talk about administration and management, it is more of control and supervision. The concept of leadership was favored because it conveys dynamism and proactivity. So try to understand the difference between administration and management and leadership. That's why I given different font color to this particular statement. The concept of leadership was favored why it came into the education in academics because it conveys dynamism and proactivity. Why academic leadership? Again, generate results and achieve your organization vision through change focused leadership. Why? Why we are going through this particular session? Generate results as per the NEP definition and achieve your organization vision through change focused leadership. Foster productivity by designing work practices, routines, systems, and structures. We talk about autonomy, curriculum design, etc., pedagogy. All we have to foster a productivity by designing these work practices. Engage people from across culture, backgrounds, and languages through effective communication, collaboration, communication, and cohesion, equity, equality. That we have to part, and that's why we require this thing. Cultivate empowerment, resiliency, integrity, and growth through your personal development and development of others. It's very important. This statement is very important. Cultivate empowerment, resiliency, integrity, and growth through your personal development and development of others too. So self development is equally very important, and that will happen into that. And of course, needless to say, skill, knowledge, and position. You need to make a transformative impact. I need not have more deliberations on today's higher education outcomes. That is not our topic. But then, when we talk globally or when we see opportunities are waiting for us in the research, in different skills, in variety of activities, positions, we require entrepreneurs, social leaders. So why academic leadership is required? Because we have to develop skills, knowledge, and position. You need to make a transformative impact. We have to go a long way, my dear professor. You will agree with that. And hence, we talk on now. We are going, my dear professor, with this, we are going in detail of understanding these concepts. So we'll see what is leadership in general and educational leadership in specific. Okay, we just try to quickly. I'll be going through this particular series of slides. It is just to make you understand quickly the concept of leadership in general. Leadership is the process of influencing individual toward shared goals. Okay, we have to influence it. It's a process of influencing the individuals toward shared goals. Then this may be the goal of achieving water freedom. This may be a goal of achieving the reduction in poor people, or any for that matter. We have to have that. Involves vision, motivation, and decision making. Leadership requires vision. Everyone, we should have a vision. We know the policy requirement. We know NEP 2020. We know its implication. We have to have a vision. We must have a motivation. And we must be able to not only motivated, but decision making. focuses on organization effectiveness and performance. And leadership is influence rather than a authority. I think one before one slide, we have checked what is the difference between administrative and management and leadership. So leadership is an influence rather than authority. You take all people together, you build your vision, you influence people, you share our vision, our destination, our goals, and you ensure that you have this is a concept of leadership. If we take some theoretical definition, Peter Drucker, one no more renowned management scientist, talk raising vision and performance to higher standard. What is leadership? Raising vision and performance to higher standard. Warren Bennis say that translating vision into reality. John C. Maxwell says that leadership is influence. Just sharing with you this will give us an idea about what is expected. What are the core leadership competencies? Strategic thinking and vision building. We are going to talk on these in the subsequent slides. Communication and interpersonal effectiveness, ethical decision making, very important. Team building and collaboration, not working in isolation, decentralized system, sharing of goals, building the team, having collaboration, change management and innovation. These are the core leadership competencies. We have to very systematically and goal oriented thinking. We have to have a vision building. So it is also applicable for the educational leadership. But when we talk about leadership in a general, we require this type of the competencies. So we require vision and strategic direction, influence and motivation, decision making and ability, communication skill, ethical responsibility, team building, and change management, which is applicable to all of us because I treat that you are academic leaders. Those who are connected in today's session, they are the academic leaders. Now, what is the concept of educational leadership? Slightly at application level. Leadership focus on improving teaching and learning, integrates pedagogy with institutional governance, promote academic excellence and student success, and builds learning centered institution. See the educational leadership. The educational leadership is focused on improving teaching and learning, integrating pedagogy and institutional governance. When I'm saying pedagogy, it is also a curriculum, it is a teaching methodology, it is assessment, and what type of the institutional governance, rules and regulation, ordinances, academic councils, and innovations are required. Promote excellence, academic excellence, and student success, employment, entrepreneurship, research, all these aspects. So you have to understand the outcome of that and build learning center institutions. We have to ask ourselves a question whether our institutions are today a learning centered institution. Learning center that at every task we conduct, there is a learning environment, learning culture in the institution. And for that, my dear professor, we talk about educational leadership. Educational leadership also talk about the some of the authors talk about. Kenneth Letchwood says leadership improves teaching and learning outcomes. Michael Fullan says that leadership drives educational change, NEP 2020. Focus on learning, culture building, and institutional development. See the perspective of educational leadership. Now, when we talk about the educational leadership, there are different dimensions which will more elaborate the scope and definition of educational leadership, the concept of educational leadership. Instructional leadership, improving classroom practices. Transformational leadership, inspiring institutional change. There's a transformation. Distributed leadership, shared academic responsibility. Ethical leadership, values and social responsibility. Governance leadership, policies and compliances. All are educational leaders, but these are the dimensions of educational leaders. This all together is the educational leader, my dear professor. So, in an educational leader, we should have a instructional leadership, transformational leadership, distributed leadership, ethical leadership, and governance leadership. All these leadership aspects are required if we really want to see the dream as stated in NEP 2020. We just see a sometime before as such. Now, when we compare general versus educational leadership, general leadership talk about productivity and organizational growth. Educational leadership talk about students learning because that is about productivity, and institutional quality, that is the organizational growth. Nothing new, just analogy to these words. In general, leadership is a market driven outcomes, educational, learner centered, and value based outcomes. The outcomes has to be learner centered. If I want to become a researcher, I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to become a lead the organization as an employer, lawyer, for that any reason for that, and value based outcomes who can really contribute in the societal development as such. Now, when we talk about faculty as an academic leaders, faculty influence students' learning experiences. I think you'll agree with me. Design innovative pedagogy and assessment. Mentor students and junior faculty, both. Contribute to institutional quality and accreditation. See, you as an academic leader, what different role you can perform. I'm going to talk you more on this, but this is what is an academic leadership aspects which we talks about and which we are now talking about. Leadership in teaching learning process. This is the last slide. Then we'll take a 5 minutes break. Outcome based education implementation. All we must know the concept and philosophy of outcome based education. So, leadership in teaching learning process, it means outcome based education implementation, active and experiential learning methods, use of technology and AI in education, continuous assessment and feedback culture. This is what we talk about leadership in teaching learning process. So, when we talk even educational leadership, within that, as we have seen sometime before, we talk about instructional leadership, transformational leadership, distributed leadership, ethical leadership, governance leadership, and for that, we have seen that how faculty can work as an academic leader, as a leadership in teaching process, teaching and learning process, and how we can really grow into that. So the application of this all, whatever discussing till now, You can go for academic planning and curriculum innovation, research culture development, interdisciplinary collaboration, and quality assurance and accreditation readiness. If we work on this particular line, definitely we can work and we can achieve or march towards the academic leadership. Dear professor, as I said before in the beginning, now we will take 5 minutes bio break. Stay connected. We'll come back in just 5 minutes and we continue our session at 4 plus past 5. Thank you so much.
Sir, your voice is not coming. Ajit sir, are you there? Ajit sir, you unmute yourself.
Sir has taken a break of 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is it audio? Can you see the slide now? Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now we are moving towards our discussion, and I hope that you all are enjoying. I just wanted to check something what we can say. Any question you have? Any question? No question, na? Okay, you can ask me question at later stage also. Not a matter. Okay. So you can implement this and apply this into the your institutional scenario as such. Let us move forward. What are the fundamentals of leadership which required by higher education teacher to demonstrate leadership in academics and education? Okay, this has been, I talk about lead, inspire, and transform. Okay, so these are will understand you the essentials and fundamentals of leadership. Few somewhere will be a repetition, but let us go and move ahead. Now, academic leadership is the capacity of teacher or faculty member to influence, inspire, and mobilize students, peers, and institution toward the pursuit of excellence in learning, research, and service while upholding ethical values, fostering inclusion, and driving constructive change in the educational ecosystem. By this time, I know that you must have understand the term academic leadership. But again, I have tried to elaborate you on this particular task as such. And in that case, what are the different type of leadership that we require? I thank really Malivya Mission Teacher Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University for inviting me. Of course, I'm not giving a vote of thanks, but we are talking to such a learned teachers on very important topic of academic leadership. We talk about self leadership, inner discipline, values, self awareness, and continuous learning. As we have seen John F. Kennedy say sometime before one slide, which you must remember, that learning and leadership or leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. So self leadership is required. To demonstrate academic leadership, we require self leadership, inner discipline, our own values, self awareness. One slide which I am going to focus on the self awareness at later stage, and we have to go for a continuous learning. Again and again, I'm saying our profession is a very different profession. We are teacher, we have to get up, always upgrade to what new knowledge, what new technology, and what are the new domains of services. And that's why we have to focus on the self leadership. You have to work on you. Personal development is important, my dear professors. People leadership, mentoring students, inspiring colleagues, and building teams. Very sorry to say, I should not give this example here, but I'll give two examples. One example where I have seen that a group of teachers teaching to a one class, they never meet each other. They never discuss with each other. They just go and start teaching. Not a good example. But where somewhere we have seen that the people leadership has proven in the development of institutions, and different teams are developed, built, and that leadership is developed to that extent. After the transfer of one leader, another leadership has evolved over there. And that's sort of the people leadership that we require. Third is system leadership, institutional governance, policy participation, and curriculum reform. So, when we talk about academic leadership, these are some, again, the domains where we need to get ourselves developed, ourselves geared up, so that we can have at first self leadership, people leadership for mentoring the students, your junior colleagues, building the teams, and developing institute as a system, their governance, their policies, procedure, curriculums, everything, that culture we need to develop. And that is the scope of the academic leaders as such. And hence, this talks that every higher education teacher must cultivate visionary thinking. We must develop a visionary thinking. Okay. And we have to think beyond the box. We know that having gone through the educational policy 2020, lot of transformations are expected. But as I said, you might be located in rural area, semi-urban or metro. You should have a visionary thinking for that. We need to see that what type of students are coming over here. You might be working in humanities. What type of humanities I need to work for that? That visionary thinking is required. Integrity and ethics, we need to cultivate on that. Communication mastery is required. We have to have a interpersonal communications are very important. Communication and interpersonal communications are very important, and that's why we require to have a mastery into that. Communication doesn't mean only I'm talking about a grammatic communication or a verbal communication, but when you go for a collaboration, an association, we have to have a mastery into that. Emotional intelligence, emotions, need not tell much on that. That emotional intelligence is required, that if I'm required to do something extraordinary for my student development, I must do that. If students required to give more and more rigorous training, don't be emotional. Give them training, send them to the industry, to the business, give them assignment. Same is for the faculty, same is for the some decision making at institutional governance level. So that emotional intelligence is required. Critical decision making. When autonomy is given to you, when you have been asked to develop the policies, regulations, structure, and when you go for implementation, you may have to take a critical decision in certain cases. But that sort of the ability every higher education teacher must cultivate. Mentoring and coaching, collaborative leadership. It's not that I'm the only leader. I have to have go with a collaborative leadership, that you collaborate with others, your own people and other people. That is very important. Adaptability and resilience. We cannot be rigid. If you want to be a leader, You have to have a resilience, perseverance, patience, adapting to the change, not having rigidity, and you have to cultivate that ability. Patience you have to have. You must be accountable. So, accountability and quality and inspirational presence. You should be give a special presence to your colleagues, to your students, to the your collaborators. So we, as a teacher, as I said you sometime before, the role of teacher is significantly is now changing, and these changes, these sort of the abilities are we need to cultivate, we need to foster among ourselves. So, to be a teacher, when we talk of academic leadership, this we need to cultivate amongst yourself. Quickly we go to few things as we see it here. We see this 10 point which I have already elaborated to you. Quickly to the one each of these attributes, will go into the little details. Visionary thinking and strategic direction. A visionary teacher leader articulates a compelling picture of what education can achieve for students, the institution, and society. Vision gives the direction to daily decisions and inspires others to strive. So here we require academic vision setting. We require strategic planning in the curriculum, and we require future readiness, and that sort of the orientation is required when we go for a visionary thinking and strategic direction. Integrity means consistent alignment between values and action. For a teacher leader, ethical conduct in grading, research, governance, and personal interaction builds the trust that makes leadership credible and lasting. Keep in mind. And some of their tools are academic integrity and anti plagiarism culture, fairness and transparency in evaluation, ethical research and social responsibility. Just see, these aspects, these are the moral bedrock on which all other leadership qualities are rest. So this we have to work when we work onto that. Communication mastery. Leadership without communication is very invisible. Teacher leaders who communicate with clarity, empathy, and conviction create classroom of the engaged learner, inspire research team, and shape the institutional policy effectively. So it may be a pedagogical communication, active listening, and feedback culture, or even when we go for a persuasions and advocacy in institutional spaces as such. So we go with that aspect into that. Emotional intelligence. Daniel Goldman's research shows that EI account for over 70% of leadership effectiveness. For teacher leaders, EI transforms classroom into communities of care, prevents burnout, and enables navigation of conflict and grace. So, self awareness, self regulation, empathy in student and peer relationship, social skills and relationship management. You know how they are difficult nowadays. But the ability to understand, manage, and harness emotion in self and others is very important when we work into that. Fifth fundamental is critical and collaborative decision making. Teacher leader make consequential decision daily on assessment, research direction, curriculum design, student welfare. But sound decision making balance data with wisdom, speed, and deliberation, and authority with participation. So here we have to go with a evidence-based curricular decision, consultative and democratic decision. If some dilemma is there, ethical navigation to through that dilemma. So a capacity to weigh evidence, consult stakeholders, and act with courage and clarity is important. In a leadership, in academic leadership, the collaboration and decision making makes significant change into that. Mentoring, coaching, and developing a structural academic mentoring. And in NEP 2020, it places mentoring at the heart of higher education. Teacher leaders who mentor well create multiplier effects. Now, right now, I am with JSPM University Pune. My dear professors, I am happy to share you here. We have 8,500 students on roll. This is the third year of the university. 450 faculties are appointed, and for each 20 of student, one teacher is mentor. And we see that attendance, assessment, and feedback mechanism goes well. It apply to the research also. And that is how, and we have a good academic mentoring too that we do in our system as such. So this plays very important role into that. Collaborative and distributed leadership is very important. You cannot have only one team. Since we go in a NEP 2020, where interdisciplinary and institutional transform agenda cannot be achieved with a solo heroes. No, we must have interdisciplinary team buildings, shared governance participation, industry, community, and international partnership. All is very essential, my dear professor, because we talk here about multidisciplinary education. We talk about skill training, we talk about internship development, we talk about ABC credit. All this is demand collaborative. Adaptability, resilience, and change. Now we have to go with a lot of reforms. And these reforms, which goes for skilling and upskilling, which goes with the whatever we had in the past, whatever setback we had in the past, now we go with a NEP mandated reforms. And for that, we have to go with a growth mindset, learning agility, and emotional fortitude so that there's a transformation happens. So the capacity of thrive amid uncertainty and lead others through this transformation. So we have to have an adapt and similarly accountability. It must be outcome based. We should go for NEP, NAC accreditation, transparent performance appraisal, and inspirational presence. Transformation leaders do not just manage performance, they elevate identity. When a teacher makes a student believe in their own potential or inspire a colleague to push the boundaries, the impact extends decades and generation beyond the classroom. So that modeling of excellence and intellectual passion is required, that legacy is required, and that we require to develop a institutional culture, a purpose in learning, a creating a meaning in the life and learning, and hence the ability to ignite purpose, passion, and potential in others is very important. So my teachers, as you can understand, it's not that you might be remembering your some school teachers or even college teachers or your research guide who has inspired you, who made transformational influence amongst yourself. Same we need to do in the present context because of the challenges that we have now having. So leadership fundamental framework under the three aspect: inner foundation as a me, relational practice with the people, and systematic impact as a system, as an institution. This leadership fundamental integration framework, which is presented here, you need to build in your institution. Please take the snap of this particular slide, will be might be useful to all of you. So from good teacher to a great academic leader, we know William Arthur Ward says that the medical teacher tells, the good teacher explains, and the superior teacher demonstrates. The great teacher inspires. So, for becoming good teacher to a great academic leader, commit to self-development across all 10 fundamentals which we have discussed. Seek mentors and become one simultaneously, not stop there. Engage with institutional governance as a leader and not as a bystander. Treat every interaction as an opportunity to inspire. Hold yourself accountable to the student outcomes, not just syllabus coverage. And of course, champion NEP 2020 reforms with courage and consistency. So, dear professor, here we have to understand that how we go into the aspect of the what these are the essence and fundamentals of academic leadership. I try to give you the examples into that. Let us move forward. How we will go, how the planning will happen to it. A quick review to the planning task of this that we will see, because we say that we have to go for self development, we have to go for our people development, institutional development, and we have to go a strategic way. So let us go for planning. So relax, take a long breath. Not now, but after going back to your institute, your place, talk to self, family, friends, and mentors. Take some time and write it. Write your self life goals, mission, vision, policy, and mandate. Because this journey becomes from the self, as already we have seen in one of the slide. Self leadership is important. People leadership is important, and systemic leadership is important, as we have seen the framework also. So for that, we need to work on to that. A small suggestion for that: give some time. Who am I? Explore self. Talk to self. We don't talk to self. We must give some time to yourself. Kya, how things are going on? What is your plan? How your life is going? What is your destination? What is your life goal? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are you can grab certain opportunities? What challenges that really you need to cross? Define the purpose of life and career both. What you are, what you want to be, mission and vision. Set the plan, policy, mandate, action plan. Don't forget, but dear professor, search for your hobby and sustain it. It's very important. Like we give our vehicle to the servicing station, similarly, hobbies build you amongst yourself and energy. So search for your hobbies, sustain, monitor, and review periodically every development. I'm not saying anywhere here that I want your life to be a mechanical, but I want your life to be joyful. Your life vision goal is achieved, your career goal and vision is achieved, your professional goal and vision is achieved. So you can start with this yourself. And then you can jump to the what you have different thing to talk. So you can use brainstorming techniques. You can define your mission and vision. You can have a strategic planning approach. I must tell you, my dear professors, I have my own mission and vision. For your information, I have completed 42 years of my teaching and administration in higher education. And I had a strategic planning. Few examples I will give you. In publication, in faculty development, in conferences, I made a mandate. I developed a policy for myself. And that talks about, I decided every year I will publish 2 papers, attend, of course, in journals, minimum 1 conference, minimum 1 faculty development program. Every year, minimum. And this is how, very systematically. And you must envision. I was a lecturer just with graduation, teaching in a polytechnic and engineering discipline. But then slowly, strategical thinking, of course, my teachers, my guides, my mentors has shown me the path, and I could go for higher and higher education. I did 1 UG, 3 PGs, 2 PhDs. I attended almost the training programs of 2 years week duration, 2 year. So 2 year training I undergone, conducted. Why I'm telling you, not I'm talking about myself, but if you do this, we can go and work. You can go to your mission. You can enhance your vision, and that's very important. And you can benefit to the society. So I have to think about me and world. This is my own concept. Me, what is me? Then me and family, me and society, me and profession, me and organization, me and nation, and me and the world. This sort of the correlation we have to expert, we have to envision, and we have to see that how we can contribute to the family, to the society, to the profession, to the organization, to the nation, and to the world. That type of the leadership we need to build when we are working on to that. And hence, please focus on me and organization. And yes, we need to go with a strategic plan. So we will try to understand how this strategic planning is being done. Of course, here my focus is on academics, my focus is on educational institution. I have given little emphasis on the self-leadership, whatever I presented you before you few of your slides. Now, when we say mission, what is the organization? Why do you exist? What is the purpose of being in existence? What are the organizational values? And how the organizations are distinct from others? I know every one of your institution has undergone NAC accreditation, where they will ask you your mission and vision. In criteria number 7, they will ask you how you are distinct from others. So, what is really mission? Mission is what is organization. Why do you exist? So, strategically, with your team members, you have to develop your mission statement, your institutional mission. Very sorry to say that even I have seen in some of the universities, it may be a private or public, one person is developing a mission and vision. How then it becomes a mission of an organization? It becomes a mission and vision of an individual. So we all, the stakeholders of education, we must know why do you exist? What is the purpose of being in existence? What are the organizational values? How the organization distinct from others? And answer to these 4 questions is nothing but a mission statement. Either you write in a bullet form answer to each of these questions, or you write in a rhythmic a sentences form. This is a mission. Because what is mission? Why the organization exists, who we are, what we do. So we all must strategically work on the mission statement. I'm going to tell you what procedure we are going to follow. So we all must know why, who we are, what we do, explain the basic needs that you fulfill. It may be serving in the rural education, skill development, undergraduate, postgraduate research, and express the core values of the organization: learning centric, outcome based, value based, ethical procedures, teamwork, vision, unique nature of your organization. So that is how we should come with the mission. So many times mission, we don't know the meaning of mission and what is mission, what is the organization, which answer these 4 questions and how it benefit to all of you. What is vision? What the organization wants to be. What and when. Do you want to become a university? Do you want to become a teacher university? Do you want to be a center of higher education where teaching, learning gives birth to the entrepreneurship, business and incubation? So what? When? By 2047. Because what vision? How the organization wants to be perceived in the future. What success looks like. If we don't have a inspiring vision, how my institution will be in 2035, 2040, an expression of the desired end state challenges everyone to reach for something significant, inspires compelling future, and provide long-term focus for the entire organization. So, a mission and vision statement that you are developing, that you are crafting, has to be based upon these concept and definition. These are the empirical definition. What success? We are stakeholders, students, society representative, student representative, non-teaching, teaching, university representative. We should come and see that in the light of the present says, how do you look like in future? Which will really give the challenge, instead challenge to everyone. And in that task, we have to work into that. Now, how do you design mission and vision? Okay, it's not that you are not doing so, but now we follow the strategic planning process. What is the strategic planning process? Process to establish on priorities on what you will accomplish in the future. It's a process where you do that. What are your priorities in next 7 years or 10 years? It will force you to make choices on what you will do and what you will not do. Many times we do so many things which are not required or which are not aligned to the vision. Pulls the entire organization together around a single game plan for execution, and it provides broad outline what resources will be get allocated. So we have to go very systematically, strategically, establish priorities. Where are you? What you are doing? What are your priorities now? Whether employment or skill or research, what is that? And based upon that, you have to work into that. And there is one method. There are so many methods of arriving at mission and vision. I'm showing you which generally used in the education process is A, B, C, D, E model. A stand for assessment, B stand for baseline, C stands for components, D stand for design to specific, and E stand for evaluation and monitoring. This is this model. If you see the top red three line, where we are, where we want to be, and how we are doing. So where we are, for that we do the assessment. What is the origin of the institution? What is the purpose established by the act or established by the trust? How the institution has developed? As on today, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? You do the assessment by team of member of your institution. You work on that. Based upon assessment, you come out with the baseline foundation. What is the purpose? Because from origin and purpose during assessment, you will come to know what is the purpose with which this institute is established. From strength and weaknesses, you will come to know the present. From opportunities and challenges, you will come to know the future. What are the opportunities? How the future is there? What challenges are there? From the development phases, whatever are the up and downs, you'll come to know the values, why we could succeed, why we could not succeed. And from the weaknesses, we'll find get what are the gaps so that we can address onto that. Then once baseline is there, then from the purpose and from the present, mission is written, mission is developed. From future, vision is developed. From values, core values are developed. And then from mission, vision, core values, you come out with goals, objectives, specific objectives, and resources. Then reach towards to reach your vision, to follow your mission, abide to your core values and your goals, you design programs, projects, set targets. My 70% students should get employment, 20% students should go for higher education, 10% should form their own business, standards, what packages, etc., etc. And you prepare an action plan. And that you evaluate, you take a periodic review, you monitor, you evaluate the performance, and you take the feedback. So I want you all teacher, I know that in 3 hour session this all cannot be developed. I'm just sensitizing you that if you use this type of the techniques, this is a scientific and systematic tool for coming to not only mission and vision statement, but also to prepare a strategic plan to reach to your vision. Not because asking NAC and NBA, but even for your institutional development. And that is one type of the leadership that we need to provide. Now, when we come to the demonstration of leadership, quickly we see the core and then we move forward to that. We must ask fundamental questions. 4 questions. What educational purpose should the institute seek to attain? Now, whenever you are working on this model, okay, when you talk about purpose, SOC, etc., 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 you start demonstrating what educational purposes should the institute seek to attain. It may be research, it may be a community service, it may be employment, it may be an incubation, entrepreneurship, etc., etc. What educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes? Whatever purposes you have stated here, what type of educational experiences are required that are likely to attain these purposes? For example, mini project, major project, industrial visit, practicals, laboratory work, experiential learning, internship, case studies, role play, etc., etc., etc. How can these educational experiences be effectively organized? I want after 3 year or 4 year, student become employable, either to get entry to the employment market or start own enterprise or go for higher education. To do so, how I will move? What are my strategies? Right from induction program to the convocation, all pedagogical experiences of micro and macro level that we need to form. And the last question, how can we determine whether and to what extent these purposes are being attained? We must have a report card. These are the fundamental questions which we ask in a curriculum development, same questions we should ask when we work on to this. And that's why I said you about the outcome-based educational model. Every one of us should master the outcome-based educational model. What is mission and vision of institute and department? What are the program educational objectives? For which career professional we are preparing? What are the program outcomes? What competencies we are developing? What abilities, what attributes we are developing? To develop that, how the course outcomes are developed, how we are designing, implementing. So we have to go with a outcome-based education model as design down. We have to go with a mission and vision of institute and department, set the purpose of education, that is program education objective, see what competencies we need to develop across the duration of the program, and map the courses into that. And that you have to deliver into this. So in this is way we have to go with achieving one's ability, developing diverse talent, and discovering one's talent. Whatever we see and seen in the education policy 2020. So for effective governance, as we discuss, we require transparency, accountability, and shared governance. Proper resource allocations are required. We have to have an operational efficiency. When we move on to this, keep in mind all these things are required. And hence, we have to, as we see and we discuss, governance in higher education encompasses the policies, structure, and processes that guide and oversee the management and operation of colleges and universities. It plays a critical role in ensuring academic excellence, institutional integrity, and alignment with societal needs. So, as I said, leadership and governance go in hands in hands. And so is to say, either we talk of autonomy or academic freedom, we have to go with a very properly designed strategic priorities. So, when freedom is given, we have to allow institutions to have their own strategic priorities, determine curriculum, manage resources according to their unique missions. Because again, that's the reason there is a diversification. The demographic difference is so much in our country: rural, urban, tribal, semi urban, metro, all these industries, variety of industries are there, and there are individual differences. So you must be able to design your curriculum. Academic freedom, that is also we need to work and have to go into the details of that. So governance, which refers to systems and procedures put in place, because once you become autonomous or in the current implementation of NEP, governance is must. So systems and procedure put in place to ensure that an organization operates ethically, transparently, and in alignment with objectives and stakeholders' interests. It involves establishing policies, procedures, all decision making trees, and how we are going to comply. This governance framework often include mechanism for accountability, transparency, effective communication at different levels, and also to have this effective governance. Clear governance structure is required. Please keep in mind, we require transparency. We require stakeholder engagement, all student, parent, society, teaching, non-teaching staff, your trustees, your university's collaborator must be the strategic oversight. You must have vision into working into that. And obviously, ethical standards and integrities are must in that. As I said to you, mission, vision, policies, procedure, leadership structure, all is required into that. When we see leadership, we talk of management too. So leadership required good governance required good management, and to have a good management, we have to have a already discussed strategic planning is must. I'm not focusing more onto this because already we discussed on that how it is crucial in higher education institution to develop or to navigate these complex challenges and achieve the long-term goals. So whatever we have designed this comprehensive strategy plan, collaborative work, all we need to work in line with the NEP 2020. Budgeting and resource allocation, management, budgeting and resource allocation. You'll become autonomous. Or even in today's concept also, if at all you are affiliated, you have to allocate resource allocation, knowledge resources, human resources, financial resources. Proper budgeting and resource allocation has to be there. Your organization structure and governance in line with your act, your MOA, and the mandate given by the higher education or UGC. So, a collaborative governance model, which is very much essential, which will have a clear reporting system, structure, communication channel. You can take a regular review, optimize performance, and so on to so on. And so is to say, we have to have work on day to day. We have to want academic managers. We require departmental chair. So when you go with these aspect of NEP 2020, you will find you require a variety of manpower to look to the day to day operation, which we ignore. We ignore the administrative functions. We ignore many times support services. But when you are going to act as an academic leader, we have to work on to that. And these strategic practices right from enrollment planning, because nowadays we know that we don't talk about gross enrollment ratio to take to the 50%, but you'll observe that day by day the enrollment to higher education is decreasing. Reasons we will not discuss, but we need to work on to that. Curriculum design, student support services, all we need to effectively management for creating a conducive environment. And that's why this becomes a component of very important aspect of that academic program management, financial management, human resource management, research administration, and students affair management. These all management aspect, and in today's context, we talk about the information technology management. So all this we have to do. And effective management is possible when we go with a strategic alignment. Our activities, the management activities should align with the institutional goals, priorities. Okay, what is the mission? What is our vision? We should minimize as possible the red lines, and we should process the optimization. Okay. How we can streamline the workflows, how we can improve the efficiency, and for that we need to try. And obviously, it requires communication and collaboration. So all these aspects are required into this. Now, When we talk in today's world about the academic leadership, the application of AI in governance and management is must. Actually, this is my separate session which I conduct for some time for 3 hours and 1.5 hours. I'm going to just share with you some tools and techniques that you can use and demonstrate your leadership in higher education, because artificial intelligence is transforming the way higher education institutions operate, from enhancing student experience to optimizing administrative processes. Okay, so we just focus this on to this to few aspects. As an instructional leader, improving student experience and outcomes by using AI, you can go for AI powered adaptive learning platform tailored to the content and pace of individual student needs. So, personalized learning. Then, through chatbots and virtual tutors or AI agents, you can provide virtual assistance. You can have a predictive analysis. You can see the student performance, and based upon that you can take timely intervention to boost the retention and graduation rate of the student. You'll come to know that this is a failure rate in particular course or particular year. You will come to know even in the first test, first class test in the first year, and that data you can utilize for the improving student experience. So you can use AI into that. Enhancing the academic and administrative, automated grading, intelligent admissions. AI will help her to streamline the entire admission process from application review to scholarship allocations. All these aspects are possible. Scheduling optimizations. You can have your timetables, your room allotment and assignment, faculty timetable. So for administrative also, and even you can have a good systematic AI powered building system monitors and optimize the energy use, maintenance, and security of campus facilities. So, enhancing academic and administrative processes is also possible. And today's leader, I know you all must be using cloud AI, chat GPT in day-to-day life, but there are tools are available in the market which will help you to that. Very soon in India, recently we conducted AI summit and we are working very rigorously into that. At a micro level, we can have a diagnostic assessment with intelligent tutoring, okay, and curriculum optimization. You can analyze student performance and refine and optimize course content and delivery. If the based upon the student, you can identify learning gaps. You get into the content into that. So personalized learning and adaptive curricula is possible with the AI. Now, coming to the last few slides, my dear professor, because as I told you, as a teacher, you have ample to perform, ample to go ahead with that. But as a NEP 2020, the leadership role of teachers in higher education. Teacher as an academic leader, as a mentor, as an innovator, and a change agent. I'm saying change agent here because NEP 2020 is going to transform the future talent of our country. We have seen those policy initiatives. We know how we are going to work on to that. So you are going to become a change agent for that. You must be remember once upon a time Takshashila and Nalanda University was very well known. People used to come from abroad to learn here, and that again we have to give bring back to the society, and we have to give the knowledge. So you are going to be a change agent, you are going to be innovator, you are going to be a mentor, and you are going to be an academic leader. The way you are working, the place you are working, in the domain in which you are working, and having a mission and vision, and this discussion, we need to work on to that. Now, the teacher's central role in NEP 2020 is an academic innovator, mentor's guide. You have a mentors and you are a guide. You are a research leader and you are an institutional builder. Because NEP 2020 envisions teacher not merely as a content delivers, but as academic leaders who drive curriculum reforms, mentor students, lead research, champion equity, and build institutional culture. Every NEP mandate places the teacher at its operational center. Please remember why this session is important, why this training on the Malvia mission training on NEP orientation and sensitization is essential. Because the redesigning the curriculum, integrating of Indian knowledge system, adopting the technology, there we talk of academic innovations. We envisage in NEP that we want to go for holistic student development, research supervision, career counseling, there we require mentor and guide. We want to generate knowledge, leads, NRF aligned projects, industry linkages, we require research leader, and we require to participate in the governance, policy, systematic change, and that's why we require institutional leader. So teacher role is so important. It is a central role in the NEP 2020. Designing flexible curriculum, integrating Indian knowledge system. Sometime before we talk about outcome-based education, teacher as an architect of flexible, multidisciplinary, and learner center programs, we need to develop your role in designing flexible curriculum. If time permits, as some other time, I will conduct a separate 3-hour session on curriculum design and outcome-based education. It's very important for us. And how you are going to integrate Indian knowledge system. Because our initial knowledge is going to give you a lot of input and which is going to contribute to the modern academic framework as such. Across, and that is that too across the discipline, and hence we require. We required, as I said to you, all these mentoring for the holistic development and student guide, teacher as a life coach, counselor, and guide for whole person formation. See, my dear professors who are connected with me today through this training program, how much faith, how much noble cause that we are going to do, what words that we can read, listen to, hear. Teacher as life coach. Just imagine your life must have changed because of some of the. You are a counselor and a guide for the person formation, research leadership and knowledge generation. Teacher as a researcher, as an innovator, and contributed to the our research foundation ecosystem that we need to develop by building a research culture, having collaboration with industry and community, and going for a more of a remote funded project as such. Teacher as a digital leader navigating the National Education Technology Foundation, open and distance learning, and AI enabled learning, we require technology integration and digital pedagogy. We use it, but not to that extent where these tools are available. So we had to provide and have that particular role. This also help us very importantly. This NEP 2020, this is the unique, five number is unique, is a inclusive classroom practices. The student coming from the diverse background, you can adapt to the pedagogies to that. And that will help student to grow. It may be a gender sensitization, or it may be sometime using for community. So equity, inclusion, and social responsible teacher is going to be a champion of access, diversity, and community engagement. And obviously, all this going to have teacher as an active stakeholder in institutional decision making and reform. So it may be a policy, it may be accreditation, it may be an academic council, senate. So you will be the part of the academic council. You will be the part of the board of governors. And you will be the part of framing the policy which is presently formed by the some university, and you are affiliated to that. But once you become a university or you become an autonomous institution, this type of leadership is required to do more. And that's why we require to go for learning, learning, and always learning. So faculty development, performance, and mentoring is going to be very, very importantly part in our life. So these seven role we are going to perform is curriculum designer and academic innovator, mentor, counselor, and student guide, research leader and knowledge creator, digital pedagogy and edtech leader, equity champion and community engager, institutional governance participant, and lifelong learner and peer mentor. My dear professors, this is not only people leadership, this is also self leadership. It is system leadership. This all together, these seven roles will give you a unique, distinct satisfaction of your life and your career and your profession as such. And hence, we to be so, we have to have, we definitely visionary thinking is required. We require to have a servant leadership. We have to have an adaptability. We have to have a ethical integrity. We have to have a community engagement. For all that whatever we discuss up till now, and we have to focus on the holistic development of the student. We have to empower the diversity which is existing today, which is limiting the access to the education as such. And we have to go for a very lifelong learning aspect in such a way that we can work rigorously and continuously start providing a service leadership into that. Coming to the last part of the presentation, one second, I'm just taking one important call, please. Hello. Yeah. Uh-huh. Huh. No, 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 13. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure, 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 sure. Okay, okay. We'll go ahead then. We'll go ahead. Huh? Sure, sure, sure. I will do that. Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then we'll go ahead with. Yeah, yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, yeah. Fine. That will do. That will do. Sure, sure. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll complete. Sure, sure, sure. We'll do that. Huh? I'll move forward then. Huh? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dear Professor, I'm very sorry I was on some urgent call. So, coming to the last phase of the presentation, obviously, you all must be looking for by this till this presentation and discussion. I tried to give you some examples. Obviously, you must be thinking of what are the techniques and tools for successful leadership in education and academics. So, strategies, framework, and what are the best practices. So, this is the last phase of my presentation and discussion before, which talks about the educational leadership techniques and tools for successful leadership in education and academics. We go move on the bus and then we. So here, though all points which we have discussed here is what is educational leadership that we talk about. We talk about what are the core leadership styles. We talk about key techniques for success. We talk for essential tools and framework, building a culture of excellence and measuring leadership impact. So our agenda is 6 point agenda. Some point already we have discussed. So I may skip and go to the next slide as such. So I'm skipping this. Quickly, I will take the what are the core leadership styles. Transformational, which inspires shared vision. Okay. Then is instructional, focus on teaching quality. Servants, people first, and distributed shares the leadership roles. Not you are doing alone. You are taking your teachers, colleagues with you. Key techniques for successful leadership. Set a clear vision. Define measurable goals aligned with institution mission. Communicate consistently to all stakeholders. Effective communication. Practice active listening, transparent messaging, and frequent two-way dialogue across the level. Develop collaborative culture. Then data-driven decision making. Invest in faculty and staff growth through workshop, coaching, conferences for professional development. And we have to go with a adaptive problem solving. Change with agility, use design thinking, and reflective practice to tackle the complete or complex challenges which are there. What are the essential tools? We have a digital and technology tools. We have a leadership framework. LMS platform you can use. You can use analytic dashboards. These are all digital and technology tools. Communications tool like Stake, Teams, Zoom, as we are using today. Survey tools you can use Google Form, Survey Monkey, or another. You can use project management also. For leadership framework, you can use SOC analysis. You can use SMART goals, very specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant goals. You can use PDSA cycle: plan, do, study, and act for continuous improvement. You use high standards, the ISS LS6 standards for the educational result, and definitely we have to go for a design thinking. These essential tools and frameworks you should use when you are going and using for the part of the academic leader. You have to build a culture of excellence, one inclusive environment, staff well-being, accountability, and innovation culture. And in not going to the detail of that, this already we have discussed, but these are the tools and techniques for successful academic leadership, building a culture of excellence, inclusiveness, self well-beings, accountability, innovative culture that we need to develop. And to develop the leadership impact, it's very important that student retention, faculty satisfaction, academic outcomes, and engagement. So, here, this continuous improvement loop has to understand. You collect the data, you analyze the data, you reflect and plan, you implement the change, and you evaluate the impact. This is applicable for the enrollment and completion rate, student retention, staff management surveys, faculty satisfaction is very important. That also we need to talk about. Then we talk about academic outcomes. It's not only grade point average or test score or graduation. We go beyond that about what about the employment and what about the really the entrepreneurship which student have got, and how you have participated with the student, our alumni, and with the society as such. This will give you more and more tasks into that. So this key aspect, you can very well assess yourself. You can use your self-assessment and reflection onto this by using different how to use. You can use read yourself, reflect deeply, identify priorities, plan and act. Okay, these are the four stage. Okay, I'm showing you one toolkit. Please take the snap of this slide and the subsequent slide. This toolkit support personal leadership development for higher education teachers. For each of the 10 fundamentals, you will find self-rating skill, reflective questions, and personal action planning space. Use it honestly. The only person who benefits is you. Please keep in mind. Please take the snap of the this slide and subsequent slide. I may not go into the detail of that. This is a test. One is on visionary thinking and strategic direction. Okay. So fundamentals 1 and 2, integrity, ethics, and value based leadership. So these are the questions which are here. Then communication mastery and emotion intelligence. Take the snap of this particular slide. I hope you have taken this photo. Critical and collaborative decision making, mentoring, coaching, and developing others. Fundamental 5 and 6, which we discussed before. Fundamental 7 and 8, collaborative and distributed leadership. 8, adaptability, resilience, and change leadership. These are the two fundamental. You can self assess yourself. You must have taken photograph. I'll move to the next 9 and 10. Fundamentals 9 and 10, accountability and continuous improvement, inspirational presence, and transformational influence. Let us read questions on the 9 and 10. 9 and 10 questions, reflective questions. Do I measure learning outcomes rigorously or rely primarily on the attendance marks? When did I last redesign a course based on evidence of what wasn't working? So you can give the self and you can see whether you are beginner, you are developing, you are established, you are advanced, or you are exemplary. Okay. So can I now 10th one, inspirational presence and transformational influence. Can I name a student whose trajectory changed because of my influence? If you are at 4, you are advanced. If you are at 1, you are beginner. If you are at 5, you are exemplary. What legacy am I building in my institution beyond my own publication? So, my dear teachers, this is the self assessment of whatever we studied, we discussed. Of course, we didn't get discussed. I only was talking because of the virtual mode. I was delivering. You were hopefully listening to it, and you can take the photograph snaps of all this, and we can go on to this. So, may my leadership profile, you'll get scoring summary. If summary is between 41 to 50, exemplary reader, 31 to 40 emerging leader, 21 to 30 developing leader, 10 to 20 beginning leader. So all these marks are out of 5, 50. You can assess yourself. You can take the snap of this slide also, and we can really have a deep reflection on the journal and different questions. Please take the snap of this slide. Based upon this your assessment, you have to give deep reflection. Okay, this is a deep reflection journal. The 5 big question which you will answer based upon your score, and then you prepare your action plan, your personal leadership development action plan. You can prepare, which I have shown to you here. So you can take the snap of this slide also, and you can have your own leadership growth tracker semester by semester. How do you progress? Take the snap of this slide too. You can use it for your own self benefit. So, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, as said by Aristotle. So, self knowledge is beginning of all wisdom. Leadership is not a destination, it is a daily practice. Your score today is not a judgment, it is a starting point. The most powerful FDP you can attain is honest self reflection. Every student you lead well multiplies your impact emotionally. NEP 2.0 is not a bureaucratic mandate, it is an invitation to transform, my dear professor. So we can talk about all these things, and you understand the interconnect into that. So, last takeaway, identify one leadership challenge in your institution, discuss strategy to improve teaching learning outcomes, share leadership practices that enhance student engagement. Please take snap of this slide. There's a lot of milestone for you. You can take snap of this slide, obtain higher education, opt education as a field of career, accept responsibility, self-study, start teaching, research, continuous professional development, and all that. With this, you can establish your own philosophy of education. So, friends, Life as a learner begins the day you realize that you are always a learner. This is what we can do. And as said by APJ Abdul Kalam, don't take a rest after your first victory. Because if you fail in second, more lips are waiting to say that your first victory was just by luck. I am author of the book Outcome Based Education, Theory and Practice, first author in country, India, to write a book on that. Thank you all for your patient listening. Sorry, I am not given you question. Time to ask my questions. Over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of MMTTC, Malware Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, I, Dr. Sheikh Akhil, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Computer Science, is proposed vote of thanks on the 7th day of NEP 33rd NEP Orientation Sanitization. First and foremost, I extend my heartiest gratitude to our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Ajit R. Thete, sir, Director, Center for Development of Leadership in Education. A special thanks to the guest, Ajit sir, for enlightening us. Your insight have given us much clear idea about the leadership and NEP 2020. Sir started with the session outcomes in 5 points: governance design, implementation, concepts, fundamentals of academic leadership in educational process, development of attributes and academic leadership, demonstrate the academic leadership through strategic planning, design and development, growing governance for effective management of higher education, use different management tools and strategies in the management of higher education. Thank you, sir. It was very learning and informative session and inspire us. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I thank Dr. Abdul Rafe, Assistant Professor and Director, Coordinator and host of this 12 days program. I also thank Professor Dhaneshri Mahajan, Director, MMTTC. Thank you to all the participants for patience listening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Now I declare that the session is over. Saurabh, close the meeting. Saurabh, are you there? You can close the meeting.